Welcome back to the No Morning Show, ladies and gentlemen. It's our time into let's find out a little bit about national service and about youth development. There's a whole ministry for it. Did you know? Well, I hope you did. And if you didn't, this morning you're going to learn a little bit about it. And here to tell us a little bit more about it, who else but the Minister of Youth Development and National Service? I'm talking about the Honorable Foster Cummings. Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning, John, and thank you for inviting me to the Now Morning Show. I'm pleased to be here, and good morning to all your listeners and viewers as we welcome this week and this beautiful Monday morning.
Indeed. All right, so let's jump into it one time. There's a new ministry on the block. I mean, when I say new, since 2020, we've had the Ministry of Youth Development and National Service. What is the purpose of this ministry? What is the direction it's supposed to be taken?
This ministry has its focus, as its name says, on youth development. As you would know, the government recently approved a national youth policy that takes us up to 2025. And that policy has several pillars that this ministry would be tasked with ensuring comes to fruition. And we're speaking about youth development, we're speaking about entrepreneurial development, we're speaking about economic participation. And the situation is that we need to create spaces, we need to create a place where young people can realize their fullest potential. And that is what the youth development aspect of the ministry is. As you know, the ministry also deals with national services on a voluntary basis. It's not what you would usually treat with in other jurisdictions, but that is intended to treat with our at-risk youth, and we are working feverishly towards making sure that these programs come to reality as soon as possible.
All right. So under this ministry, what agencies are we talking about? What agencies fall under this ministry?
Several agencies. We do have, as you know, we have the youth division. That youth division is responsible for several youth facilities that we currently have. We have a residential component and a non-residential component. So that under the ministry, under the youth development division, you have youth facilities that provide that space I was talking about for young people to come in, to look after academic qualifications, look after skills training. And then we also have a residential component, which I spoke about recently, which is the youth camps that we are bringing back on board. On the national service side, you could look at programs such as CCC, MyLat, MyPart, that we partner with the military to treat with persons who have disciplinary issues as well as at-risk youth.
Tell me the difference. Go ahead.
Also, under this ministry, we have the Cooperative Development Division, which is responsible for the regulation and promotion of cooperatives and credit unions. We have the Friendly Societies Division, which is responsible for the promotion and regulation of friendly societies and large organizations. We do have as well I spoke about the MyLat and the MyPart and the Civilian Conservation Corps, and the NEDCO organization that deals with micro enterprises also falls under this ministry.
Okay, so we're looking at development from the phase of being able to teach you academics as well as a trade, essentially, and then also being able to develop you to the point where you can take that and turn it into your own business. Is that the general trajectory we're looking at?
Yeah, you see, what we want to do is capture those persons who may not have had the experience they expected at the secondary school level.
Right.
For some reason or the other, they were unable to realize their full certificate and enter the job market in a way that they could be absorbed in the job market.
Yeah, a sustainable way.
Right. In addition, those persons who would want to get into entrepreneurial activity, that is the direction we want to guide you. So if you went through the secondary school system and you did not do so well, so to speak, then we have a range of programs to absorb these persons and take them in channels. Those who are interested in further in the academic areas, we channel them in a particular area. We have a robust skills training program where persons can enter that area, but ideally we're preparing persons for the job market on one hand and also for entrepreneurial activities.
On the other hand, all right, fantastic. So since the ministry has, since its inception in 2020, what key activities have you guys been undertaking so far?
Well, the ministry at that time, I'm there about a month now, but the ministry at that
Mhm.
time, in the last few months, has been focusing on getting the youth policy in order, formulating the programs I'm talking about. We are looking at modernizing some of these programs. Some of these things have been around for a while, and we now want to bring it into the current age to treat with the current circumstances. And a lot of work has been done in putting those things in place so that the foundation has been laid, and we are now at the point of implementing many of these programs. I should also tell you that the geriatric adolescent program also falls under this ministry, and the RAP program, which deals with retirees who are assisting adolescents in terms of projects and homework centers and so forth, that also falls under this ministry.
How is the pandemic affecting all those things? Because yes, you can plan for them, but you can't execute anything until.
Well, we have been implementing some of it virtually,
Okay.
and as soon as we get the back of this pandemic, some of the practical aspects will come on board. I can tell you that we just last week, I think it was Friday, we launched a registration for a youth empowerment program, and over the weekend we have already exceeded over 500 applicants. So that there is a great interest and enthusiasm concerning these programs, and particularly as well the youth camps that we recently announced the government will be reopening. There has been a flood of interest in that particular program.
Well, we could talk about the youth camps now. You guys announced that you're going to be revamping youth camps. What are the plans for the camps, and what are you hoping? I mean, you see people have been coming and flocking to register, but what do you hope the outcome of the youth camps would be?
Well, what we know for a fact, these camps have been around for some time and have proven that it is a remedy, a situation, a platform where young people who are vulnerable and, for instance, unable to access some of the services that a regular young person in a full family setting will access, they can get that kind of support in the youth camp. Now, the youth camp has a range of training programs, skills training, with a focus on areas like agriculture, masonry, carpentry, and now we're bringing in things like web design, computer coding, and those things. And what at the end of the day, what we get out of that program is a well-rounded young person who is well qualified in terms of the skill area they would have chosen and can then move on, as I said earlier on, into job market. But a lot of them get into business and contribute towards our sustainable development in a very positive way. You know that there is the El Dorado Youth Camp that was designed for young ladies, and that camp, we are bringing that camp back on board. And we also have the Chatham and the Presto Presto Youth Camp that we will be also refurbishing and modernizing. And as well, the government has announced that we will construct a youth camp in Waterfield in the east of Trinidad, and also in West Trinidad, we will construct a youth camp in Chaguaramas. Now, we'll also engage in some discussions with the THA in respect of a possible camp in Tobago, and that is on the cards as well.
So tell me something. In light of this pandemic and everything has been so virtual, I mean, do you think it's wise to start constructing establishments, or is it should we focus more on constructing something digitally, something virtually that we can say now we can target, the youths, because that's where most of the youths are. They online.
Yes, and the fact remains is the pandemic. While we are treating with a pandemic, the pandemic will not be here forever. So that at the end of the pandemic, we still have to govern, we still have to run the country as it were. So that whatever you see being put in place now in terms of construction and those activities is really a plan for the near future. You know, the government is involved in a vaccination program. The world is involved in a vaccination program. So at the end of the day, when we get to the back of this pandemic, we do have to continue our programs. Now, we are doing as much as we can virtually, but there are just some aspects of training that you have to do practically and will involve a practical component, and you will need a space to do that.
Right. Now, Minister, you've been talking about, the at-risk youth that are going to be involved, that, you're putting up for national service or recommending the ones with disciplinary issues, etc. And we're talking about the students who didn't have such a pleasant secondary school experience. But I know lots of people who have graduated secondary school, they have graduated even tertiary education and still find it difficult to find employment. Would those people at all qualify for these programs, or they are out of reach?
No, definitely. You see, the thing is that you want to make yourself marketable as possible. So our programs are open to those persons, that category of persons you have spoken about as well. And they are welcome to take part in the program to improve on their skills and to make themselves more marketable. In particular, I can tell you that a lot of interest is shown in the program, the agricultural program that we are developing, where persons are, tooling themselves and retooling and retraining themselves to make sure that they can turn their agricultural ideas into a business model. And of course, it's a program that we're very excited about.
Of course. Now, Minister, a lot of the youth development, as far as I'm concerned, a part of what we need to work on, besides the actual skills training and academics, is the mental health of the youth. Is there any particular attention paid to this in the youth development part of and in national service? Because I feel like discipline and mental health kind of go hand in hand.
Yes, you are correct. And definitely that is a focus as well. This is a holistic training program we are talking about that takes the youth and looks at all areas where we need to give that support to make sure that this young person, will be trying to make sure that we produce a well-rounded citizen who is able to contribute in a meaningful way to our sustainable development. And yes, mental health issues and that type of support is also part of what we do.
All right, that sounds fantastic. But tell me something, Minister, the youth camps. Can we break it down a little bit and find out what happens in these youth camps, like specifically? Are you able to give us that info?
Of course. At the youth camps, as I said, would be the residential component of what we are doing. Because as you would know, a lot of persons who are vulnerable may not have the environment that gives them the type of support to take part successfully in a program of study. And therefore, at the youth camp, because they reside at that location for the 2-year or 3-year period of the program, they get that type of support that you would usually get in a home setting, right? Meals, etc., 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 and all the sporting and other support components. And therefore, while you are in the camp for that learning experience, you also have a sort of community learning, because that particular cohort becomes your family for the duration of the training. And as I said, there's a range of training programs offered at these camps, skills training in particular, but also some element of academic support for those persons who may not have achieved their full certificate at secondary school. And as I said, we look at a holistic development of the young person, so that at the camps you also have persons treating with areas of sports, healthy living, health and wellness, the mental health issues you spoke about. And in that environment, it is expected, and we have experience, we have support and success stories to suggest that this model has been very successful in the past, and we intend to utilize it once again.
Well, yeah, I mean, for me, the more you speak about it, the more I realize that it's ideally like equivalent to university, because you take that experience where you go and live on campus and you get the training that you need to get, and you get the community that you need to get, and that's what it is another level of education, but with a different format than you would have been accustomed to in secondary school, where you would go back home after. Yeah.
Yes. Now, I visited recently the MILAT program, and it is a similar model, except this is the part of the program where we partner with the military. Right. And the success coming out of that for young persons who may not have had the direction beforehand, the success coming out of that program is just very, 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 rewarding. And you would want young persons to know more about this program. So we intend to embark on an aggressive marketing exercise as well, to make sure that rural districts throughout all of the urban areas, that young people are aware of what is available to them. So it is not the end of the world if you came out of secondary school and things did not go so well for you. The government has put in place and is putting in place several programs that you can take, you know, that you can benefit from. And as you mentioned, even those who may have done well, but you want to retool, you want to retrain, you want to get an extra skill, this is the place for you, Ministry of Youth Development and National Service.
In a program like the MyLAD program, what is the measurement of success? Like, how do you measure somebody who has succeeded in that program?
Well, the output, because you see, the participants in that program come from what we have termed at-risk youth.
At potential, right? At potential. We just call them at potential here.
Right? So they have had some issues coming along the way. And therefore, they come into that program with the military component, a high level of discipline is involved. And then when you look at the persons graduating out of the program, you have a success. That is your success. You have a person who has now developed in a very short period of time in a way that they were not able to before.
Right.
And therefore, that is the success I was speaking.
But Minister, I don't know. I feel like what happens after that? So you have them training, you develop them, you turn them into this fantastic human, and then you put them back in the same settings that they were in before.
Well, I can tell you that many of them have gone into business on their own.
Right.
And therefore, within the ministry, we have the support for that as well. And we are going to be launching an incubator program shortly. And that program will take you, once you have your ideas, you have equipped yourself, you are trained, and you are interested in entrepreneurship, that program, that incubator program, will take you, train you into how to be a successful business person. All of the accounting support, how do you pay taxes, how do you, your human resource training, and give you that kind of seed funding. And that program, as I said, is going to take those who are interested in entrepreneurship and get them into the small business sector.
Are there any plans to do any links or any work with the Ministry of Community Development in this? Because I think the community is also a part of what we seeing as, you know, a part of the disconnect, why people oftentimes fall back into negativity or whatever the case may be, is that the entire community plays a role. Like, you know, they say the villages raise the children.
We are our partners in this, some of our major partners in this in terms of other ministry would be the Ministry of Education, because we have been working along with the Ministry of Education in terms of some of the agencies from that ministry who are giving support to some of the programs, that is the MIC in particular, NESC. And then we have the Ministry of Agriculture that is supporting our youth agricultural homestead program, which is another program that pushes entrepreneurship in agriculture. And yes, the Ministry of Community Development and Sport is also a key partner in that all-around development that we are talking about.
Fantastic. Well, I look forward to seeing what happens with this ministry in the next few years. I expect great things to come of it and our youth to benefit tremendously. I want to thank you very much for joining us, the Honorable Foster Cummings, Minister of Youth Development and National Service. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you so much for having me, and you can look forward to very exciting and rewarding programs for the young people of Trinidad and Tobago. There are great times ahead. Young people, look out. We have your back.
All right, and we take a quick break and come back with more inside the Now Morning Show. Stay tuned. Thank you so much, Minister.